Welcome to all. Myself, Dr. S. Jeyalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Fatima College, Madurai. Now I am going to explain the monetarism versus Keynesianism, the great economic debate. Monetarism and Keynesianism economics are the two major schools of economic thought that influence government policies around the world. These theories provide different explanations for how economies functions and how government should respond to economic challenges such as inflation, unemployment, and recession. Keynesian economics emphasize the importance of government intervention and fiscal policy to stabilize the economy, especially during periods of economic downturn. In contrast, monetarism focuses on controlling the money supply through monetary policy as the most effective way to maintain the economic stability and control inflation. The debate between these two approaches has shaped modern economic policy making and continues to influence how governments and central banks manage economic growth and stability. The next one is origin and historical context of Keynesianism and monetarism. First one is Keynesianism. Keynesianism was developed by the British economist John Maynard Keynes during the Great Depression. During this period, many countries experienced severe unemployment and economic declines. Keynes argued that markets do not always automatically correct themselves and that government intervention is necessary to stimulate demand and restore economic stability. And the monetarism, on the other hand, was promoted by Milton Friedman in the 1960s and 1970s. Monetarists believed that the primary cause of economic instability was poor control of the money supply. Friedman argued that stable and predictable growth in the money supply was essential for controlling inflation and ensuring long-term economic stability. So, both the theories emerged in response to different economic challenges and have played significant roles in shaping economic policies in various countries. The next one is core beliefs government's role for monetarism and the Keynesianism. First, the Keynesianism economist believed that governments must play an active role in managing the economy. According to the Keynesian theory, when private sector demand is weak, the government spending can help stimulate economic activity. This approach uses fiscal policy tools such as government expenditure, public investment, and tax adjustments to increase aggregate demand and reduce unemployment. In the monetarist, however, argued that excessive government intervention can create inefficiency and distort market signals. They believe that free markets are generally capable of correcting themselves over time. Instead of large government spending programs, monetarists emphasize the importance of controlling the money supply through the central bank policies to maintain stable prices and sustainable economic growth. Thus, the main difference lies in the level of government involvement in economic management. The next one is causes of economic instability. According to the Keynesian perspective, economic instability is mainly caused by the fluctuations in the aggregate demand. When demand for goods and services falls, businessmen reduces the production and may lay off workers, leading to unemployment and economic recession. This decline in income further reduces spending, creating a negative economic cycle. Whereas in the monetarists believe that instability occurs primarily due to the unpredictable or excessive growth in the money supply. When too much money is introduced into the economy, it leads to inflation and price instability. Conversely, insufficient money supply can slow economic activity and lead to recession. Therefore, while Keynesian focus on the demand management, the monetarist is focused on the stable money supply. The next one is policy tools for fiscal and monetary. Keynesian economics strongly supports the use of fiscal policy, which involves government spending and taxation decisions. During economic downturns, the government may increase spending on infrastructure, education, or social programs while reducing taxes to boost consumer spending and sustainable stimulate economic activity. Whereas the monetarists prioritize the monetary policy, which is implemented by the central bank through tools such as interest rate adjustment and control of money supply. The monetarists recommend maintaining a steady and predictable growth rate in the money supply to prevent the inflation and maintaining long-term economic stability. The next one is the real world impact. In the year 2022, the financial crisis provided a major test for both Keynesian and monetarist theorists. During the crisis, the government around the world adopted the Keynesian style policies by introducing large economic stimulus packages aimed at increasing demand and preventing deeper recession. For example, the United States government implemented the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which involved massive public spending to support businesses, create jobs, and stabilize finance markets. Monetarists criticized these policies, arguing that excessive government spending could increase public debt and lead to long-term inflation. Instead, they recommended focusing on stable monetary policies and allowing market to gradually recover. The next one is wage rigidity and unemployment. Keynesian economists believe that wages are strictly downward, meaning that wages do not easily decrease even during economic downturns. This rigidity may occur due to labor contracts, minimum wage laws, union negotiations, and social expectations. As a result, employers may reduce their workforce instead of lowering wages, which leads to higher unemployment during recessions. Rather than the monetarists, however, argue that wages are flexible and will eventually adjust to market conditions. They believe that the unemployment mainly occurs due to structural factors such as skill mismatches, technological changes, or voluntary job transactions. According to the monetarist, the economy tends to move towards a natural rate of unemployment over time. The next one is inflation control and economic growth. Monetarists strongly emphasize the importance of controlling inflation. According to Milton Friedman's famous statement, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomena. This means that inflation mainly results from excessive growth in the money supply. By maintaining a stable and controlled money supply, monetarists believe that the governments can ensure price stability and sustainable economic growth. Keynesianism, however, argue that during period of economic slowdown or high unemployment, stimulating economic growth should take priority over strict inflation control. They believe that moderate inflation may be acceptable if helps to create jobs and increase productions. The next one is hybrid approaches and modern perspectives. In modern economic policy making, many governments combine ideas from both Keynesianism and monetarist theories. Economists increasingly recognize that neither approach alone is sufficient to address the complex economic challenges. For example, during economic crisis, the government may use Keynesian fiscal stimulus while central banks simultaneously implement monetarist monetary policies such as lowering the interest rate or increasing liquidity. The global response to the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated the hybrid approach. The governments provides financial assistance to households and businessmen, while central bank introduced policies such as quantitative is easing to stabilize financial market. This integrated strategy helps create a more flexible and effective economic policy framework. And the final conclusion is the debate between Keynesianism and monetarism remains an important part of modern economic thought. While the two theories offer different perspectives on how economics should be managed, both provide valuable insights for policy making. The effective economic management often requires a balanced approach that combines physical and monetary policies. So the governments must carefully consider the economic situation before deciding which tools to use. By understanding the strength and limitations of both Keynesian and monetarist theories, the policymakers can design strategies that promote economic stability, sustainable growth, and employment opportunity in an increasingly complex global economy. Thank you.